Hello and welcome back to another edition of EDFL Web TV. My name's Adem Saricaoglu. We're here today at the Coburg City Oval, the venue for Saturday's big qualifying final between Greenvale and Aberfeldy. The winner will play in the Strathmore Community Bank Premier Division Grand Final. Speaking of Premier Division, it's a big week for the Pascoe Vale Football Club. It's been quite a long time since Pascoe played in an A-grade/Premier Division final. They take on Keilor on Sunday. A big reason for their success this year has been the boom recruit of Ben Warren. He's kicked 78 goals and won the goal kicking in this home and away season. I caught up with Ben at Tuesday night training, and then after that, we'll hear from Varley and Adam Russell. We're here at the Pascoe Vale Football Club tonight, Rayburn Reserve, and it's a pretty good vibe around here because they are back playing finals football. Big game against Keilor on Sunday, and Ben Warren joins me on this week's edition of EDFL Web TV. Ben, welcome to the show, mate. Like I said, it's been a while since Pascoe has played A-grade/Premier Division finals. Just tell me about what the feeling's like around the place at the moment.
Yeah, no worries, mate. And thanks for having me on. It's it's a really good vibe around here. You come down here and you talk to the guys, and we haven't played A-grade finals for a long time, and I guess that's it's down to what they've built over a long time through other divisions and worked their way up to A-grade footy and played here for a couple of years and have built a really good culture. And I think that's the thing that's held us in good stead, is getting a whole bunch of guys from elsewhere and putting us all together and building on that culture. And it's been a really enjoyable year. We know how hard it is in Premier Division just to make finals. It's such a hard division to be competitive in. So in that respect, the home and away season has been a pretty good one for the Pascoe Vale Footy Club so far. Yeah, it's been a good year so far. We've had our peaks and troughs. We started off like a house on fire, and we've tapered away a little bit over the last sort of 6-7 weeks. But it's a long season, and at the start of the year we weren't getting ahead of ourselves. We knew we still had a lot of work to go, and we've been working on things continuously throughout the season. So hopefully it all comes to the fore. We're in finals now. Anything can happen, and so hoping for the best. You're 1-1 against Keilor so far this season. That is your opponent on Sunday. It's a knockout final. The winner will obviously play in a prelim in 2 weeks' time. So it's at Windsor Hill on Sunday. What's been your read on how Keilor's gone so far? They're a good defensive unit. They are a very good defensive unit. We have struggled to kick goals for the last 2 games that we played against them, and me personally as well. But no, Mickey McGuire obviously put some great structures in place, and they're a well-drilled unit, so always a tough opponent. Just finally, on behalf of the EDFL, we need to congratulate you on winning the goal kicking this year. 78 goals, your first year in the EDFL. You managed to kick a large bag of 78 in the end, 6 ahead of Dean Galea from Avondale Heights. So congratulations, and just maybe a word or two on how you've adapted to the EDFL, because obviously it's been quite good so far. Yeah, thanks, mate. It's been a really enjoyable year. As I said, we've come back here, I've made some great friends and playing with some old mates as well, and I think that's the thing that's made it enjoyable. I mean, wouldn't be kicking goals without the guys kicking it to me, and us as a team being successful. So, enjoyed it. Ben Warren, thanks for joining us on EDFL Web TV. Good luck against Keilor on Sunday.
That was Adem Saricaoglu there with Ben Warren, and now I am here with Adam Russell at Coburg City Oval to look ahead to a big week of finals football in the EDFL. First up, let's get straight into the questions. All 4 finalists in Strathmore Community Bank Premier Division had wins in the final round last week. Who are you feeling good about, and who might be a little bit worried going into this next weekend? Yeah, good signs for the top 4 teams. Winning form going into finals is definitely a good thing. Aberfeldy, they had the grand final rematch with Strathmore. It was almost irrelevant, unfortunately, but they got a big win there. So Aberfeldy, 18-0 in the home and away season. Nothing to worry about there. Greenvale, they had one of the biggest wins of the season over the Northern Saints. Just a tick there. Keilor, they came up against West Coburg, had another good win. No dramas there, but it was Pascoe Vale. 9-point winners up against Marby Park. A bit of a question mark over Pascoe Vale. They bought into a little bit of the niggle and the mind games that Maribyrnong Park did bring. So not too sure what they're going to do once finals come around, but very interesting prospects all round. Aberfeldy are going to take on Greenvale right here at Coburg City Oval for a spot in the grand final. Will Abbas go 19-0 with ease, or is Greenvale a big show here?
Yeah, I think Aberfeldy, they have to go in deserved winners, but Greenvale, they have come the closest to Aberfeldy so far this season. There was a 9-point loss at the start of the season and a 40-point loss later on. Obviously, those aren't the closest of margins, but Greenvale, they did have a big win on the weekend, 10 goals kicked by Trent Shinners and Tom Hill. So they do have the firepower up forward and they do have a bit of a spread. So hopefully they can bring something out of the playbook and give Aberfeldy a good run.
Our Sunday edition of EDFL Match of the Day will take us to Windy Hill for Pascoe Vale v Keilor. Who will win this knockout clash and why? Yeah, a lot on the stake for both sides here. I think Keilor, on form, they have to go in favourites and probably will get the win. Although the finals, it can bring the best out of some teams. The Chiefy spoke to Ben Warren earlier in the week, and leading goal kicker in the competition, if he can bring his A game, if Pascoe Vale can bring their A game, anything can happen. But I think I'm going to have to give the tip to Keilor at this point. And now, Adam Russell, it is time for some more grades for you after last week where you gave some quite controversial opinions on some of the teams. So let's find out your quick thoughts on the bottom 6 Premier Division teams that didn't make it to finals. Yeah, a couple of eyebrows raised last week, Claire, but let's kick it off with Avondale Heights. They had a slow start to the season, but finished pretty well in the second half. I'm going to give them a C+. Strathmore, last year's Premier, a bit of a hangover. Didn't beat a team in the top 5, so it's a D+ for them. Maribyrnong Park had a good young list, finished mid-table, were about what they were expected to do. Looking forward to seeing what they can bring next season. I think they might be a bit of a black horse in the Premiership tilt. I'm going to give them a C+. West Coburg, they came up from Division 1 after winning the Premiership. Had a pretty solid season, got the 4 wins, survived relegation. I'm going to give them a C. Airport West, they had a bit of a drop-off. There was a walkout, so that was sort of expected. I'm going to give them a D+. And the Northern Saints, in really tough circumstances, they've had a really brave year but couldn't get it done on the field. I'm going to give them an E+. But looking forward to seeing them in Division 1 next year, and hopefully they can bring back some of the high-scoring football that we've seen in the past and we've loved. An E+.
An E+.
What a unique grade. I don't think I've ever heard of an E+ before. And on to Essendon Ford Division 1, and it's hard to even find a starting point after 2 eventful games of footy on the weekend.
Yes, Claire, it's why we love Essendon Ford Division 1, one of the best local competitions in football, and it was an electrifying start to finals. It had a little bit of everything. There were some spectacular goals kicked, and it was really fiery and physical contest, but it was Dooders that have booked their place in the grand final. It was the third quarter that really set them up. The Premiership quarter, Shiloh Smith had a really good, kicked a couple of really good goals, and George Naboo, our Sports Moves best on ground player, he had a really, really good quarter, and that probably just summed up his day in an overall good performance. Aaron Kite, he chipped in with 3 goals, and I think they'll really relish the week off Dooders with a couple of niggles to Smith and Cade Carey and Aaron Kite. We all saw them go off at times during the game, so a good rest up for Dooders. But as for Craigieburn, they were a little bit slow to react, I thought. They were maybe a little bit stubborn to make some moves, but when you've got guys like the Cloaks up forward, you're always a dangerous prospect.
Yeah, and if we see that matchup between Essendon Dooders Stars and Craigieburn again at the grand final, do you think we'll be seeing a different kind of football?
I think they have to, Craigieburn, if there are going to be a chance. They were maybe a little bit too predictable from what I saw. You know, I did mention the Cloaks being dangerous, but when you're going to them time and time again, maybe you need to find that third avenue to goal, maybe get some midfielders coming through and kicking some goals as well. So, you know, Craigieburn still very much a premiership chance at this point, but they will need to make changes if they are to make that grand final.
And then on Sunday, we were treated to an absolute classic at Keilor.
We certainly were, Claire. It was one of the games of the season, and whoever the loser was, it was just going to be plain unlucky. Tullamarine, they've secured their spot in a preliminary final. West Meadows, their season done, unfortunately. They played some pretty good football, West Meadows. It was dangerous corridor football, but a credit to the Tullamarine defence. They held on in that last 10 minutes. West Meadows, they really peppered the goals, had a lot of inside 50s, but Caleb Harwood kicked the last goal of the game, a goal he'll probably talk about for the rest of his career. Zane Williams was really lively, and Justin Marcy dependable as ever for Tullamarine.
Yeah, you really do have to feel for West Meadows, but Tullamarine is a side full of heart. Adam, how will Anthony Layden's men go when they come up against Craigieburn in Sunday's preliminary final at Greenvale?
Yeah, Craigieburn, they get another chance at Greenvale for their spot in the grand final. Tullamarine, they probably can't afford to give Craigieburn a lot of momentum like they did to West Meadows, because when you do have guys up forward like the Cloaks at Craigieburn, it's a dangerous prospect. But if Tullamarine, if they can get their the bottom 6 players on that best 22 to put in a consistent effort, I reckon they can give it a real good crack.
And now on to Strathmore Community Bank Division 2, and Jacana's fairy tale run just keeps getting better and better, doesn't it?
It certainly does, Claire. It's such a good story for Jacana. They got the win in the end. Chris Johnson, he was back, kicked the 5 goals, and probably the most valuable player in that Division 2 finals contest. Dylan Wolfgram, he was really good on the weekend, and Billy Morrison as well. Really just solid performance by Jacana, and good to see them into the preliminary final.
And the Jags are going to come up against Roxburgh Park after the Maggies lowered their colours against Hadfield.
Yeah, they certainly did. Hadfield got all the cattle back at the right time. I think at this point, Sammy Sard, he slotted the 5 goals, and Tim Robertson, he chipped in with 3. Hadfield, from all reports, they just outbodied Roxburgh Park, just physically a little bit better than them. From all reports, Ferris Merry, the big ruckman, was best on ground, gave his midfielders first use of the ball and chipped in with 2 goals. So Hadfield, they booked their place in the grand final, and Roxburgh Park, they fight to see another day, but in a all or nothing clash.
A spot at the grand final is up for grabs at Glenroy on Saturday on EDFL Match of the Day. Will Roxy bounce back, or will Chris Johnson and his mates get the Jacker over the line?
Yeah, I'm really excited to see this contest, Claire. Probably my most anticipated game for the weekend. The two teams, they met earlier in the year, and it was 2 really close contests, but the last time they met, Roxburgh Park did have a big win over Jacana, but I'm not expecting that same sort of style of match to happen again. I think down at Sewell Reserve in Glenroy, Roxburgh Park, they do like playing corridor football, and that ground probably doesn't suit them. So with a bit of hope and belief behind the Jacana boys, I think they can get it close to the wire, and I think either side, if they're going to win, it'll be less than a goal difference.
I'm definitely looking forward to this game too, and it will be exciting. Thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of EDFL Web TV. Make sure to pick up your free copy of the record with any entry to finals football this weekend. We really hope you enjoy the football this weekend, and we'll see you back here on EDFL Web TV next week to preview the Division 1 and Division 2 grand finals.